Ah, okay. So what's funny is in the picture for this, the thumbnail, it looks like I'm presenting a solo cup because the video is about me sculpting a piece, and I was just showing them, look, there's no back piece because I don't have a picture of it because I haven't made it yet. So it looks like I'm just pointing at a solo cup, which was the only thing sitting on an empty table. Okay. All right. Hello, Michael J. Laster. It's good to see you on, sir. Weird Kid, it's good to see you on. And in a little short while, you'll be at MC5. Exactly right. I was about to say the same thing. So I'm sculpting a back piece for Creature from the Black Lagoon type monster. My creature is from the Black and White Lagoon because of copyright issues. Not issues. And I'm also not making it look like theirs. It is certainly inspired by, but aren't all fishmen inspired by the Creature from the Black Lagoon? A little bit. Or H.P. Lovecraft, one of them. So my plan is to do a quick mold on this, a sculpt on it, and then I'll be able to mold it. And yeah, it's going to be a Transworld. And yeah, I leave in a little more than a week. I got time. First, I'm making a beverage.
Great House Haunts, that's Jan. Janet, she is saying hello.
Hello.
So Michael Lassiter and Ty Moss.
Hello.
They want to know if the pups are there. Are the pups here?
Puppies are here, causing havoc in the corner. Cheney is in a I eat cardboard boxes phase.
Psycho X-Man!
Psycho Axeman. Here's what I need you to do.
Oh my goodness!
Post a message on there for him.
Oh.
Psycho Axeman, where have you been? I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if you drink while you watch or what. I have no idea. But you purchased a mask from me during a live. And I made the mask. It's in a box. I don't know where to send it. I don't know where you live. So,
oh my goodness.
my wife is going to put down the email for Stiltby Studios in the comments. Email that with your address and we'll ship your mask out, okay? Okay. So, yeah.
Thrilling. How awesome.
Finally caught X-Man. I've had that sucker done for weeks.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a back piece. It's for a creature type monster. I'm going to sculpt it right here. I'm going to mold it right here. But that won't be today because I'm out of plaster. I have to go to Home Depot and get something that I think will work. I do kind of have a last resort mix for plaster that I like. I wouldn't do a mask out of it, but a flat mold like this should be fine. Now I sculpted and molded the chest piece earlier today, so, and that's already got latex in it. Get some of the plaster from that off the table.
Hi to PayPal account 1410 away somewhere in California. What PayPal? Psycho Axeman, it's in the PayPal account.
Psycho Axeman, you didn't pay with PayPal. We don't have your PayPal info. You just gave us money on a live video. Like you do. Which I will never discourage. Heck man, send me money, I don't mind. I'm not proud. Okay, I'm proud, but I try not to be arrogant.
Casey Campbell, hi Alan Shannon. Jordan Easel, hi Alan Shannon.
Hello, Jordan.
Michael Lassiter, like the tree creature.
Yes.
Saying hi to Lockhart, Kenny, and Connie.
Hey, guys.
We'll be seeing them at Transworld.
Cool.
And this is a... What was that?
That's a puppy.
Why are we whining?
Well, they're whiny.
Oh, okay.
They're puppies. They can't fit this whole box in his mouth. Okay, looks like we're about 28 inches, what I need my length to be. We're getting to the point where, well, the shop is full. There's things happening all over.
So cool.
I'm running out of flat surfaces.
Psycho Axeman, I bought a couple of masks through you. It's actually through PayPal.
Okay.
What? I need an email address.
I don't. Psycho Axeman. I don't know your. Is your name on PayPal also Psycho Axeman? Because while it's a lovely name, you may occasionally go by something else. And I would need that in order to look you up. I even sent you a message through YouTube. Actually, I commented on one of your videos. Poor Scott Coltheart had to wait for me to ship his bus to him too long. Had a misadventure with that. And then you're all ready to go. I don't even know where to send it. Okay. How we're doing here. And all I'm doing right now is I'm putting down a snake that is the right because I want it to be correct. And this is old clay that I'm using right here. All of this whole thing will be sculpted out of reclaimed clay. This right here came out of the chest mold I just did.
Psycho Axeman, I just did a search for the address you posted and I have nothing coming up. 1410 Leland Way, somewhere in California.
Killing me, Smalls.
Killing me, Smalls.
Killing me.
If you'll just send the address to that stilt beast, that would be super helpful. We are ready to send that to you. Thanks, John. Okay, Kitty Campbell.
John, what's John's last name?
He didn't say. He said yes, John.
Mateo?
John Kakai?
Kakai.
Kakai! Kakai. You're making me work, John. You better work.
Okay.
What do you think I'm up here?
And I'm just laying down clay. Now I just did the chest, and I'm going to do the back about the same as I did the chest, size-wise. Not overly huge, but big enough to where it's going to cover the majority of the body. The way that I do most of these, like most of latex creature suits, a lot of flat sculpts, and they have panels to them. Panel work, like a panel beam. I'm just laying out a framework right now. So you could sculpt a bust. Sculpt on I have a chest form. I have 3 chest forms. But I'm sculpting it flat, so A, the mold is not as contoury, and the mold will be manageable, and it's easier to pour. But also, latex is flexible. It's going to flex around the body where it needs to, if you have attachment points and stuff. So, and molding this flat will be way easier than trying to mold it while it's on a, while it's on a upright mannequin. Just do it easy.
Okay. Weird Kid said that he spent the day hanging out with Count Gordeval.
Oh, I love that guy. I was raised in Baltimore area, basically. So we had Count Gordeval. He was my TV horror host. I got to meet him in person and thank him. He did a lot of really fun stuff.
Kenny says we'll be at Dark Hour next Friday.
Awesome. Ought to be a fun show.
And Weird Kid said he's still looking forward to seeing that sea monster. John Mayorga, what kind of clay do you use for the sculpting?
Wet clay. This is just water-based clay.
Jordan Easel, I'm currently working on a fox puppet for a ventriloquist.
Is that why you... Yeah, foxes. Yes.
Casey Campbell, you guys are open next weekend and Transworld the week after. Crazy schedule.
I'm a fool. I'm not a smart man.
Hey, where you been?
At least this way, the show is out of the way by the time I leave for Transworld.
JD Thaxton says, hi guys. Let's see, Jordan Easel, if you didn't choose this career, where would you be instead?
Park ranger, garbage man, lots of good choices. I enjoy police stuff. I wouldn't mind being a policeman. Although I think that would change me a little bit. I wouldn't be the happy-go-lucky guy that I am. I am happy-go-lucky, dang it.
Hello from Maine.
Love being outside. That's
Okay,
nice.
so did you say park ranger?
Yeah. So being a ranger outside would be really nice.
Joe Reese, can you use hydro stone to make a two-piece mask mold?
Yes, you can.
Jordan, are you working on a chest?
I'm working on a back, actually. I just did the chest. The chest is in the other room. I started sculpting it at about 1:30 p.m. I sculpted it, I molded it, I cleaned it, and now there's latex in it, and it's in the other room. My goal was to start sculpting and making the creature suit 2 weeks away from Transworld. And I have a week and 2 days, so sure it'll be fine.
Psycho Axeman just gave you $2. He said, do you ever use silicone?
Where's my $2? Yes, I use silicone quite a bit. I normally use it on the molding end more than the finished product as silicone end. But I've made silicone masks. I know how to make silicone masks. But I don't make a lot of silicone masks simply because the guys who do it are great at it. There's so many good companies who make silicone masks. I'm not going to add anything to the haunt world by making silicone masks. Immortal and CFX kind of have it covered.
Michael Lasser says Alan Mall Cop.
I'd be a fine mall cop.
Jordan would like to know what's the creature.
It's the creature. Correct. Okay, so the creature. This is the creature from the Black and White Lagoon.
Oh.
Is what this is. This will be a stilt costume that we have at the show.
Psycho X-Man, are you in Burbank?
Psycho, are you in Burbank?
Are you in Burbank? Can you tell me? I think I found you.
You have to hunt and peck him?
Yep, I'm putting it together. We're gonna get out of here. Great! I found you!
CSI shipping. There you go.
That's awesome. Hooray! Burbank, California. Got you. Okay.
Yeah,
Sent you a Grinch.
I knew you'd ordered from you before, but I don't always remember the name. You know what I mean? Like if they have one name on YouTube, I might not remember. What's more important to you guys? This view here where my head is cut off, or do you want my head in the shot? I can back the camera up so you can see both. Let me know. But if you want to see detail-ish. Well, I always feel weird when my head's cut off in the show.
He said, "I told you, wife." Thank you, John. You get called wife by a lot of people I don't know, right?
You're so lucky.
My name's wife. Michael said, "We're here for the sculpting, man."
Yeah, you don't want to see my mug. Okay. I realized that I could do this while sitting down. I'm a genius.
What's different about working with silicone?
So silicone, the main difference is that silicone, as far as working with it, not the final product, but working with it. Silicone is a chemical curing. It changes forms from liquid to a solid via a chemical reaction. Latex changes forms from a liquid to a solid via drying out. And it'll dry out either via contact with the air, or the plaster will suck moisture out of it, and yeah, or the plaster sucks moisture. So there you go. And because it's a chemical reaction, different things can inhibit that reaction, meaning it won't happen. You were expecting it to turn into silicone? It did not. It stayed goo. That happens sometimes. Latex will inhibit the cure. So if you take a mold that you made for latex masks and you have made latex masks in it, you take that mold and put silicone in it, no matter, even if you mix it right, it will not set up because the latex chemically stops the silicone chemical reaction from happening.
Jordan says, so the best mold medium for silicone is fiberglass.
That is a medium. Plaster works if you seal it. Fiberglass works. I use resin most of the time, not normally fiberglass resin. And I also use epoxy quite a bit. My go-to is epoxy for silicone mask molds.
Can you patch a silicone mask?
Absolutely you can. There is an amazing miracle product called Silpoxy. Silpoxy. And you get it from Reynolds Advanced Materials. And it is amazing. You can't even tell it was glued back together.
My experience with silicone was a rough one. I bought a ton of supplies and found out the clay I used was sulfur-based. Wasted a ton of material before I figured out what I did wrong.
Yep. Silicone is a little more finicky as far as that goes.
So go back to me, I just sent you another $2.
Woohoo! Here's my
He
$2.
says, oh, I didn't know that.
So every time I teach you something, you send me money?
This guy's awesome.
Well, let's sit down, friend. No, yeah. So, all right. This is my basis. Like, this is how big it's basically going to be. Yeah. And
Can your next stream be about epoxy molds?
Who is this asking?
Jordan.
No. Simply because I don't have. Everything I'm doing right now is I'm getting ready for a show at Transworld. Transworld is a trade show for haunted attractions. It is where haunted houses go shopping. Haunted houses from the little one on the corner by your house to Universal Studios are there buying product.
So used to work for a company that made high-end silicone dolls, and each one took about 12 to 15 gallons of silicone. A failure to cure was a nightmare.
Oh, I can imagine. Yes. That's. I'm not going to ask any more questions about the dolls you made. Just, yes, quality work goes into those. I know that for sure.
That was from Dark Nook. Psycho X-Men just sent you another $2. He wants to know who's your favorite band.
My favorite band?
He sent you $2 to ask.
Okay, he's going to take $2 away when I answer.
Oh.
I'm a huge Bon Jovi fan. All right, okay, when I say huge fan, I enjoy Bon Jovi's music. I'm not a concert guy. I'm really not even that much of a music guy, in all honesty. I've given my preference, I would listen to audiobooks or watch horror movies while I work instead of listening to music. There are times when you just need some music, and then I listen to just...
Hair bands.
What's important is the tempo of the music. Although I have been liking dark synth lately. I just enjoy that sound, that very 80s horror movie soundtrack sound.
He just sent you another $2.
I like that.
He just sent you another $2 and says Twisted Sister.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. That's a good one.
I think you're up to $8.
Woohoo! $8.
Dark Nook says he just made the dolls' faces.
Gotcha. Hey, I'm judging you. That's fine. There's a lot of that kind of work in for special effects folks. What industry is recession proof? Porn. And luckily, haunted houses. Okay. I think this is a good base for that back piece. There's going to be shoulder pieces also, but this is a nice start for what I want to have happen on that. And this whole thing of clay came from somewhere. I don't know what I used it for, but I used it for something. And I'm just starting to put on blocks of where I think I want things to be. You can kind of see that these are looking a little shoulder bladey from the way I put them on. Now you're above looking down. They probably look a bit like boobs to you, but I swear they're going to be shoulder blades.
Dark Nook. I met Dee Snider at the premiere of Strangeland. He was a pretty cool dude.
One of the times that I was at Universal, I looked across the lagoon, and they were shooting for, what was the Trump show, the entrepreneur show that Trump was on, and Dee Snider was on it that season. I'm looking across the way, and you could pick Dee Snider out from a mile away because of his hair and his height, and I'm like, that's Dee Snider. And so I saw them shooting for Apprentice. That was the name of it.
We saw him at some show we were doing.
I never watched Apprentice.
He was very thin.
I don't watch a lot of TV. And I know I want a healthy dorsal fin on this guy. I want a big fin right down the back.
Scott McDonald Jr. I remember that it was a Harry Potter thing.
Okay, yeah. Well, I saw him at Universal, so that makes sense. I never saw the show.
Psycho Accident. Do you ever get frustrated when sculpting?
No, but honey, is it fair to say that I don't get frustrated a lot?
It takes a lot. You are a slow burner.
Yeah, I don't really get frustrated very often.
It takes you a lot to reach that point.
This is going to have to hump up for the butt, so this has to go up in the air a little bit. We're going to start butting out over here.
That great stuff can looking like something you can sell as art on eBay for $2,000.
Yeah, this guy, he had a bit of the old popcorning effect.
The show was The Universal Apprentice.
Okay.
Speaking of clay, can you make a clay monster with spikes and studs and a medieval helmet?
You can. Wait, are you asking if I can do it?
Or is it possible?
Or is it possible?
Darknook. His hair was hot pink because he dyed it blood red for Strangeland and tried to dye it back to Bull Hunt. D. Snyder, I guess.
Yeah, Strangeland was that was a fun movie. Captain Howdy, I think, was his name in that. So I'm just kind of putting a little bit of a round here. And you can see I'm lumping up big shapes right now. And the back, like this is straight right now, so I have to angle this because the back of the mask would bump into it if it was that high. So I got to angle this down a little bit. But that just gives me more stuff to add here. And once I get this close to what I want, I'll start doing my details. One of the glorious things about a big project like a big silt monster or something is I'm counting on their eye not stopping. They've got to take in this whole monster. So your details can be a little fuzzy.
He had a great quote about the movie. He said he wanted to make a movie where nobody died, but everybody suffered.
Yes.
Psychopaths Man, $2. Kool-Aid is a dye that don't last long.
Well, that's true.
Is this a commission piece or something for Transworld?
Who is that?
That is Crispy.
This is something for Transworld. This is a black creature from the Black and White Lagoon. I'm doing a series of classic monsters. I'll have a Frankenstein, a Nosferatu, a Wolfman, and a creature. And I will have them all as stilt costumes. Just doing some schmoothing. And right now, and I'm not worried about it for this sculpture. I have no visual reference whatsoever. Like I don't even have a single picture because my computer's over at the house and Shannon has her computer over there. So I'm just doing what I think looks fishy and cool.
James Will, hi, I've been lurking. How do you reuse the clay?
When you're done using it, you put it in a bag and save it for later. So when I make a mold, in that mold, I will end up, so in the mold, the clay will be, I will take it out of the mold very carefully and save it. Most of the time I just throw it away. But when I'm recycling it, that is when I'll do other stuff. I'll keep it. Like this stuff came out of the middle of something that was big. I forget what it was. And I just put it in a bag thinking, oh, I got big stuff to make later. Getting warm over there?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm cold anymore. Psychopath Man, see, I never knew that either. It's just filler. Darknook, are you doing a full-scale suit for the creature, arms, legs, and all?
Yes. Full stilt costume.
have the mask close by a show?
The mask is actually in the other room. It is
Oh,
finished. It's in the booth building.
I mean, like scales all over?
Like that. Well, you kind of see what the texture is once I get going here.
What is your preferred brand of clay?
Laguna clay is good. The wet clay. Anything that's wet, which I think wet is from Laguna, but I use any water-based clay.
The first creature that got me hooked for life was the Star Wars bar scene.
You know what? What a great piece of film for creature work. So many different monsters in that, you know. And each one had their own unique look, and it's great. This clay is a little hard. It's been used a couple times. Normally I don't reuse, but I did. I'm still just blocking out basic shapes. I'll go a little crazy on this here later. Right now, I'm just putting reinforcement where I think I'm going to need reinforcement. I know I want the base of this fin real thick and then to go thin. I wonder what I sculpted to save all this clay. No idea. Again, this will be the back of a creature. A creature from the Black Lagoon type. Fishman, if you will. A man fish. He is not a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. He is a little bit man, a little bit fish. Which is completely different. Are you typing a comment?
I actually have a work thing I have to do real quick.
Sometimes my wife is supposed to be doing comments for me, and I look over and she's watching kitten videos. I'm like, what the heck? You're not working for husband. You're watching kitten videos. So if she misses a comment, it's not because I told her to ignore you. It's because she's watching important kitten videos. You should give her hell. This is Alan's throw his wife under the bus hour. I need those $2 that Axeman keeps sending to get a hotel room. So,
Okay.
buy a pack of yellow scrapers like this from Harbor Freight, and they're wonderful. They're like putty scrapers. I cut saw teeth into one. It's also wonderful.
The first creature scene that got me hooked. Okay, no. You can put it in a 5-gallon bucket with some water, and it will reconstitute and soften.
That's true. That is true. But I don't want to do all that. There's still going to be hard spots. There's little lumps in it from plaster and stuff. I just toss it. It's not expensive. Clay is the cheapest thing I use.
Let's see. You should. It's filler. Good clay goes on top, I think.
Yes, just filler.
Who is your monster-making hero?
Well, if you don't say Stan Winston, at least in part, Stan Winston, Jim Henson. There's so many. Stan Winston, Jim Henson, Rob Bottin, Miles Tevis, Don Lanning.
Did I hear it? Just who you say that you're going to be doing Wolfman? If you are doing Wolfman, that is my favorite character. That is awesome.
Yes, I am doing him. I kind of already. I can show you something cool.
Psycho Axeman just sent you $2. I drank the Kool-Aid in the early '80s.
Woohoo!
That's awesome. Yeah, saving wet clay is penny pinching.
So this is a. This attaches in the back, of course. Look at that hair. Look at that hair suit. You don't see long hair like that, and it's a blend. It's not straight brown. It's brown and black in some spots. This is a nice hair suit. I'm bringing some really cool hairy monsters to Transworld. Since you've been good, I'll show you a Wolfman mask too.
This is for Vinny 5150. He's one who asked about that. Psycho Axeman just sent you $2 more and said, God damn.
This is the mask that goes with
Oh
that.
my god.
Psycho Axeman, you're very generous.
You are funny as hell. Let's see. Jamie Paxton, 2006. I love the troll.
Yeah, Troll's another hairy costume.
Dark Crystal, Labyrinth. Story, the holy trinity of creature movies from me.
Okay, yeah, Never Ending Story was good. I loved that as a kid.
Then Yard Hunt. I just finished casting my Wolfman bust about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, awesome.
Psycho Axeman has sent another $2 and says stunning. Grey House Haunts. I ordered my silver Wolfman mask. So excited. That's Jan.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
We got you on the list, Jan. You are on the Transworld list. We haven't even gotten there. We already got orders going. Vinny says, thanks. That made my lifetime.
That whole suit together, it's going to be pretty awesome. There'll be a stilt version and a non-stilt version. See how I'm just using my fingers to kind of make it a sawback fin? And then I'll go in and I'll solidify those details, but nice and raw. A nice fin on him. I walk by a construction site and the construction workers go, whoa, nice fin. See the fin on that fish, man? I could do fish man stuff with him all day long.
Quit.
That's what they would say.
Oh my goodness. What's your next monster? When is your next monster camp? That's Janet.
Honey?
April, Janet, we've got, Janet, do you go by Jan or Janet? I've got two names on your orders. We have one, and we're going to have one more. We're going to squeeze out one more in May. We haven't launched it yet. We're going to launch it in the next week. But we have one in April.
Which is full.
That is full. And then before we leave for Transworld, we're going to launch the one for May because we are not going to have a chance to do another one for the rest of the year. That's going to be it. So we're going to squeeze one more out. And then we're not going to be able to do another one. So May will be the next one. Jan. Okay. Thanks, Jan. I called you Janet because of your order, but I got you, Jan. Mr. Jimmy says hello.
Hey, Mr. Jimmy.
Chances, if I send $2, can I get into the May one?
Well, no, not for $2.
Psycho Axeman is starting a trend.
We better if we started a $20 trend.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Psycho Axeman, making it rain.
We have been looking for him for so long.
Yeah.
And now, yes, you can. Quit. He's another $2. Oh my God, you're funny. This guy's a riot. Yeah, that'll be our last monster camp for the year. We don't have a chance to do anymore.
Wife says. I think we could squeeze one in.
Well, how often do you look at your calendar?
I don't.
Yeah, that's right.
I just let wife do it.
You're pretty. Okay.
Okay, see I'm getting a nice saw ridge here. That's nice. I'm using my loop tool now. I'm going to press out a little bit of that ridge at a time. Now I went to a rake. I went to a little sawtooth rake.
Scott McDonald Jr. I'm new to this world. When and where is Transworld? It sounds awesome. I know there's a Mask Fest also, which I would love to check out.
So Transworld is in St. Louis, and it's not this weekend or next weekend. It's the weekend after that. Is that 2 weekends? Is that how that works?
You can't say it's right now because it's Saturday night.
Oh yeah.
So you're saying it's not the next weekend. It starts the days
Weekend
after. So I think it starts on the 18th.
Right.
And tell him what it's about.
So Transworld is where haunted houses go shopping. Lots of companies bring things there, and they hope haunted attractions will buy them. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't.
What tools are you using now?
Right now I'm using a rake, just a rake tool. And I'm just trying to shape this back fin so that it has some structure and gives a nice look.
Michael, I think you're asking about Mask Fest. He's asking, are we going this year? No.
I will not be at Mask Fest this year. Something else is the same weekend.
What weekend is that? Michael, when is that? Yes, you got something. Do you sell products at Transworld or take orders?
Yes, I do both. Mostly I take orders. It's an order placing show. It's not a cash and carry show, although there is some cash and carry. I will have things for both. I'm kind of raked out. I'm happy with my fin at this moment. I'm gonna, sharpen up some of these guys. I don't want it to be too brittle. If it's too brittle, then these little tips will break off. But they're nice and ridge-like, and I like that. I'm gonna make myself a high
Art Lady Blunser. Edie, that looks pretty darn cool. Howdy, Alan.
Well, thanks.
Bill Batchelor. Hello.
Hey, Bill.
Say hi, Bill. We are in Transworld Crunch Time.
We are.
We are.
All about the big TW. Okay.
That looks like it would be an annoying mold to get to sit flat when casting.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out some tricks. Who said that?
That is Dark Nook.
Yeah.
We have 41 people watching
Wow.
on a Saturday night.
Y'all need hobbies.
So do we. We're the ones working on Saturday night.
Well,
Our
yeah.
friends are out partying.
Tis true.
It's true.
Tomorrow, Rue will be here about 5 p.m., he said.
Oh, okay. Edie, after completion of this back piece, how will it attach to the rest of the body?
So, there will be a shoulder piece that has 2 flaps on it, and I will contact cement this piece and the chest piece to that. So they both hang, and I'll put lacing, holes for lacing, on each side, and then I'll put holes for lacing on the, and then we'll lace together on the sides is the short answer. It'll lace together on the sides.
Hey Alan, since you're the first booth us vendors see, I believe you should have biscuits. Just pumped. It's Mr. Jimmy. We're the Good Morning booth.
Well, I appreciate it. We are the Good Morning booth.
Yes, we are.
Where we are situated. We're not right by the front door of the show, but we are by the side door that all the vendors come in the morning. So it's kind of our job. I make sure we have somebody there who says good morning to everybody as they come in. Kind of important to me that if you're gonna have to interact with somebody, first person you see ought to be nice and saying good morning to you.
Dark Nook says, I'm working, making masks too. Latex and cotton molds for existing masks. Psycho Axeman said $2 more. Cobwebs and Candlesticks is here. Michael Laster, Mask Fest is usually in September, but they haven't updated their site yet.
They're now accepting vendors, I heard, but I don't know when they're going to be.
Mr. Jimmy says biscuits are a good morning.
Biscuits are a great morning.
Yes, Edie, we are number 4. Booth number 4.
Yes. I want to find something to punch some real quick rough texture in. Perfect. Have some aluminum foil here. And all the wrinkles in the aluminum foil just frankly look nice and make a great texture on clay. I'm going to open this up. It's really nice and wrinkled. And I will use this sort of as a texture stain.
No, I am not doing a cooking show, but very kind of you to remember. No, I am actually doing the money and the orders for the booth, which means that with the exception of a dash, and I do mean a dash to the bathroom, maybe once in a day, I do not move. So, no, I will not, but it's very kind of you to remember. It's a fun gig, I enjoy it.
I gotta smooth this out a little bit. Gotta smooth this out. So I get the texture on here. You guys are fine, don't worry.
Are all 3 of them there?
Yes.
Puppies.
So I'm gonna actually take the phone and show people because Cheney is doing something ridiculous.
Oh my god.
His head is underneath the shelf. Like his whole head is under there. How you doing down there, boy? Sure, he's fine. Bella, out like a light.
Headless dog.
Cheney, out. Boris, out. They played hard today. Now it's monster making time, but they want to be wherever we are, so they have their own little bed.
I want to learn mask making. Should I start with a half mask or go for it and learn to make a full mask?
Start with a latex half mask. Learn how to do that. And then,
oh goodness, baby.
just one. They're fine. Heads down. Heads went up, heads went down. Okay. Now, what was the question, love?
I want to learn mask making. Should I start with a half mask or go for it and learn to make a full mask?
Start with a half mask. A latex half mask is a great place to start for a couple reasons. One of them being it's a manageable mold. It's a one-piece mold. And you'll learn about the material of plaster. once you know about the plaster material, then you'll be able to, when you get to a two-piece mold, you'll have an understanding of the material. It'll just be easier on you.
You have several bless yous.
Thank you.
Lord, help me understand the dash to the bathroom. Girl, I have to run, because I'm the only one who's working the money.
Our booth is busy.
Let's see. Psycho Axe Man, another $2. Does the foil make a big difference in a chest sculpt?
It's a bit of a subtle texture. It depends on how much you push in and what your foil is shaped like. Right now, because I have real big rake marks in this still, I never took my big rake marks out. I'm taking those out with a brush right now. It didn't do a lot. I can tell what it did, but it wasn't, a phenomenal difference. It's a texture. It's a skin texture. It's not, your structure, your muscular structure is what's the most important. And your skin texture is one of the last things that you do. But artists do like to rush, we like to, and texture is sexy. And doing the musculature sometimes isn't.
Darkwick says Cheney is drunk again.
Dang it, Cheney. Drunk again.
Let's see. Alan has the Kung flu. You have lots of bless yous. James Minnick, hello.
What I have is, I made a lot of plaster molds today, and this this clay is right here, so I got clay dust up my nose is what I got.
Psycho Axe Man is making us all look cheap.
He is.
What are you making tonight?
I am making this is a back piece for a creature from the Black and White Lagoon is what we're calling this.
Will there be another embarrassing story tonight, or did I miss it already? Nope.
Odds are good. There will be one.
Oh boy, I gotta think.
Why, you better get on it. Okay. Now so here's a tip, sculpting tip. Just because a brush is dead doesn't mean that I throw it away. Like this brush here, I used some kind of a resin in. Well, when you run this across clay, it leaves a nice impression. This one had paint in it. It's a lot stiffer than a regular brush. I am just about to start doing some other. I want texture before I put the layers in. So I'm definitely going to do layers like the Creature from the Black Lagoon has.
We have a lot of Creature from the Black Lagoon fans on this. People are very excited about it.
You know what? He's one of my favorite monsters because he's one of the hardest ones to do too. Simply because he's all skin. See how much that is chewed up and different? It's not smooth. It's a good texture. I'm going to put that on, then I'm going to carve in the scales. And then I'll refine that fin a little more.
Another $2. Beautiful, says Psycho Axe Man. When pouring latex into a mold, does it require a release agent?
No, not at all. You don't want anything in between the latex and the plaster, because the way the latex will dry, is when the plaster will suck moisture out of the latex, and that causes a skin to form up against the plaster. That is why latex masks are hollow. If you filled a plaster mold with silicone that you mixed up, you would actually end up with a solid silicone head. Okay, see, that's a nice texture on there. I'll move the other side.
I think he has 7 back plates on each side that connect to his spine.
I don't want to know that. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to hear it. Because I'm not copying him. I'm going to put as much on here as makes sense. because I'm not copying the creature from the Black Lagoon. I'm making a monster that is inspired by.
The amazing thing is the guy swam in the costume.
Well, there were two guys. One of them was Riku Browning, and Riku Browning played the monster underwater. Riku Browning was a champion swimmer who was, I think at the time, from Hawaii, although he lived in Florida until he died. And then on the ground, the creature was played by Ben Chapman, who was a stuntman. And Riku Browning and Ben Chapman both say that they are the real creature, and they have quite the feud. I believe they're both dead now, but they really, they never reconciled, hey, I'm the creature, you're the creature. They never did that. They really had a feud for years and years and years.
Did you say you finished the creature's face? Any chance we can see that?
Yes, there is a chance.
Okay. Time for a dad joke. What do you call a round 18-wheeler?
Is that Jordan?
No.
Okay, good.
It's Ross Riker.
A round 18-wheeler. I don't know.
A semicircle.
Oh, you're killing me, Small.
Damn straight if it's Alan's brain. Let's see. What is the best plaster for mold making?
I like Ultra Cal 30 most of the time. Hydrocal is also good, as well as US Pottery Plaster #1. Also a good plaster.
I'm going to go get the nest.
Okay.
It says, what also, is that foil still s'mores worthy? And what kind of clay are you using?
This is water-based clay. This foil is getting pretty tired. You have to wrinkle it and re-wrinkle it, and eventually they all just smooth. You know, they smooth out too much. So I kind of have to undo it and then put it together in new and interesting ways in order for it to work. So there we go. Yeah, and now I've got good texture again. I'm going to take a second and define the ridge. That is the end of the fin and the beginning of the back itself. And I'm using this tool to push against the clay. And as I push it, you know, a little bit of clay pushes up in front of it, like a plow. Just tilt that camera up. This is the sea monster. Rah. You can see where you can see out of in there. And these fins on the side, and this is EVA foam added on to the latex mask. So this whole body would be black and white like this. Thanks, wife.
This body piece in here you have a fan on is doing well.
Good, good. All right. So I want to define my ridge again on the other side. Then I will start putting in the layers, the scutes, we'll call them. They're called on the back of an alligator, scutes. Okay, nice. Because this piece, you know, some animals are segmented. You know, this part feels like a different part. So I'm get that feeling in him. I'm going to use this to undercut the clay. I'm going to do both sides kind of at the same time so I can keep it even. So what's happening is I am pushing, well, I'm pulling clay out down to the edge, and that is, I'm undercutting.
Okay.
I'll have to go back in and add more texture in those spots.
Michael Lasser says, and here I thought you were going to hand sculpt the individual scales. Psycho Axeman says, damn man, very nice. What is the difference between ultracal and hydrocal? This is 6 strings, Layla, guitar man.
What's the difference between
Hydrocal and ultracal.
Okay, if something needs to be baked, you have to use ultracal. Only ultracal really has the temperature survival in order to handle being baked. So if you're doing foam latex prosthetics, you use ultracal. Hydrocal tends to set up a little differently. Hydrocal is, it will slowly thicken over time. And ultracal will be mud, 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 hard. So there's a bit of a, you know, you got to play with it a little bit. You got to get used to each material. I'm undercutting so that these look like they're laid on top of each other.
Okay. Bill Batchelor asked Dr. Pepper.
Coke Zero, actually.
That mask looks awesome. Heck yeah, that's awesome. Would be cool to make an anglerfish and add a light to the top.
We've done that.
We've done that.
One of the people in my last monster camp did an anglerfish.
I guess it was my big chance. Thank you for showing us nosy people. That's easy. That's awesome. Oh, $5 from Psycho Axeman.
Whoa.
So much knowledge. Oh my gosh, he's funny. Oh wait, he did another $5. I don't need $5. Okay. And we have someone who has sent a thumbs up, and the writing is Asian. Very exciting.
Okay, well, cool.
How cool. Come on.
I don't know how to read in Asian.
No, but they gave a thumbs up. It's neat that someone across the world is watching. I thought Texans were only allowed to drink Dr. Pepper.
Most Texans do. I was raised somewhere else. All right, so I'm liking this. We feel pretty good about it. I'm gonna leave them up while I put texture in there with, you guessed it, aluminum foil. Let's be consistent. It's gonna take a little bit this time because there's a little bit of a blank spot where I scraped off the texture. I'm just pressing it into there.
Ezekiel, give up the sodas. Hey, all.
Well, you know what? I've given up so much. Right now I'm on keto, but I am losing weight. So what I'm doing is working. But I can't afford to not be caffeinated right now in my life. I need it.
There are many vices that the world has that you do not partake in.
Yeah, I don't smoke. I don't really drink. I don't do any drugs. Well, that reminds me, I should take some ibuprofen.
Oh, did you forget?
Yeah, I didn't take
Hello.
it. So yeah, you're right. I'm not a womanizer.
Right.
I make monsters and I drink a lot of Coke Zero. I should stop. You're absolutely right. I don't know who said that, but they're right.
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel, I'm going to miss you, buddy.
Oh, man.
He will
What are
not
you
be at
talking
Transworld this year. Normally we
Okay.
get to hang out with Ezekiel some.
Is Hydrostone as strong as UltraCal 30? And do you mix it up the same way?
It is mixed in a very similar fashion. Yes, it's mixed the same way. No, it's not quite as strong. Of all of the stones, UltraCal is the strongest. Hydrocal is the second strongest. Then there's Hydrostone, and then there is US #1 pottery plaster. But it's still fine. All of them are fine. I mean, like the difference is, and sometimes you won't even get a difference because the specs that they give you are from them mixing by machine, not hand mixing in a small garage. So we're not going to get the full hardness that they would in a lab anyway.
Dead End Yard Hunt says, I sniff glue.
Okay,
Okay.
that's cool.
Ezekiel,
Ezekiel?
if you can do it, you can. 14 teaspoons of sugar per can is no good for us big boys.
Well, I'm drinking Coke Zero. So, yeah, maybe he's saying why don't do Dr. Pepper, but...
Chad Flyboy B. Can't wait to attend the monster class in a few weeks. Oh,
Awesome.
Yes, Chad. Hey, we're looking forward to meeting you, man. I love the mask you showed us on video camera. That was the Gillman.
Yes.
Or
Or the Wolfman.
the Wolfman. Give up the sodas from the Tim Tam dealer.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, don't knock the Tim Tams, Michael. We're almost out. Could you recommend an inexpensive clay to practice sculpting?
Water-based clay. This stuff is dirt cheap. It is not an expensive clay at all, and it's wonderful. Now it's messy. It's one of the messier clays. An oil-based clay is going to be cleaner because there's a lot of crumbly stuff and a lot of dust that happens with water-based. So I get it. Some folks just don't want it in your kitchen. Maybe you don't want water-based. One of my points of pride have never gotten back a security deposit. So
Ezekiel, me too. Had so many people to catch up with. Damn virus scenario is difficult. Having trouble even traveling in my own country. It is so dumb.
right now, 148 people in the United States have the coronavirus. 148.
How many people have flu?
But, well, yeah, who knows? But known cases is 148. Maybe what this will do is make people more aware, and maybe people will learn, yes, always wash your hands. Yes, always cough and sneeze into your elbow, That would be great. We're kind of pushing the texture out of that piece. So we're just going to start over with another
You're
piece.
a Texan now, Alan. Drink unsweet tea.
You know what? I like sweet tea. I love sugar. I mean, I'm not fat by accident. Not like, oh my gosh, how did I get fat? I love sugar. I love sweets. I love pie. I love chocolate. All that.
Is it okay to do a clay wall and then finish making the mold tomorrow? Or should I wait and do it all tomorrow?
What are you making your clay wall out of? Because if you're making your clay wall out of lead, then I would say do it all at once. Because your clay wall is going to dry a little bit and shrink a little bit and pull away from your sculpture. So you'll have repair work to do if you wait and do it tomorrow anyway. So you might as well just do it.
Show a mask again. Psycho Axeman, what mask was it that you wanted to see?
Well, just go pick one, honey.
Well, you tell there's so many to choose from.
Pick one you
Okay,
want.
I'll go get a mask. Hang on. When you paint a latex mask, how do you prevent the paint from cracking if the mask is stretched? Does it need a sealer?
It's not about a sealer, it's about the kind of paint you use. I mix latex right into my paint. The formula that I use, I learned from Ed Edmonds at Distortions. And I use the same formula that he does for his masks, which is 1/3 latex mask latex. So 1/3 casting latex, 1/3 distilled water, and 1/3 latex house paint. Normally I buy mine from Home Depot. See, and now I'm using this to push down and get those to really look like they're laid on there in flaps. Push them down. And then I'm going to refine my fin a little more and let it dry a little bit, just so it'll take more detail. Okay, feels good. Let me grab some tools to refine my fin. This guy might help. I want to get all of these little lines in this going this way. I'm a fisherman, so I should get fins right. I do a lot of fishing.
Here's a mask.
What you got?
Troll.
Oh, troll. Okay, so this mask is a troll. La la la. Look at that big old troll nose. Got some troll ears in there. It's you know, back of the head is, you know, here, and then yeah, troll mask. Fun stuff. I like me some trolls. Here you go, wife. Ooh, scary, spooky, scary skeleton.
You said that he went with the fursuit, right?
Yes, and he has a black suit. He has a black fursuit and hands, so he's a whole thing. I love how the troll turned out.
Kind of like the Willow trolls.
Yeah, yeah, more like the trolls from Willow. All right. And I don't think I'm going to refine this up here too much. I think I'm just going to let it be ragged and rough. I like that. Okay, there we go. A little bit of refining, keeping these from being too thick. I want a real nice thin edge right there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go to my other side, do the same thing. I'm liking how this is looking.
$5 from Psycho Axeman, who says 56,000 die from the flu every year. Thank you. Ross Reichert, it'd be cool to do a zombie mask caused by the coronavirus.
I think you'll see some of that at Transworld. I'm almost willing to bet money that someone is doing that.
Scott McDonald's Jr. says wed. WD. Wed clay?
Yes, this is wet clay. Yes, it is.
So he says, no, Alan, unsweet, just like me. If I'd ever teach Miss Shannon how to make the best brewed tea ever. I'll even teach. I'm always willing to learn. Ross Reichert, I work at Home Depot. Chad.
Nice.
What's the piece you are building now? I tuned in late.
This is the back piece for a creature from the Black Lagoon type monster.
With that paint formula, can you use acrylic paint instead of latex house paint?
You can, but I don't like it as much. I prefer house paint from Home Depot.
See, another $2 from Psycho Axeman. How do you store a mask?
Well, okay. If you're a collector and you're storing it like super long term, then you want to put a poly bag over the wig head and then put it on a wig head. Keep it full. You can stuff it with tissue paper. That's fine. I would not use newsprint because newsprint will suck moisture out of the mask to keep itself moist. Um, and yeah, and keep it out of direct sunlight. That's for sure, because UV light is the worst thing that can happen to your mask. Sunlight, worst thing that can happen to your mask.
With that paint formula, can you use acrylic paint instead of latex house paint?
You just asked that?
I'm sorry. Lane Cook says nice. Very ugly. Only a mama could love that face, but cool as all get out.
That is true.
Are you only doing black and white versions of this character?
I'm not gonna have time to have any non-black and whites for Transworld, but I will have non-black and white versions available. Like I'll probably get a mask done in full color, but I won't be able to do all of it. And now I'm just flattening out some discs, and I'm going to give them texture too. And these are going to kind of act like scales that are a nice transition between the body pieces.
What is going to support the fin as you apply the mold mixture?
Nothing. It should be fine. I don't think it needs it. I mean, I'm going to apply it onto it. I'll just be careful until it hardens, and then it takes care of itself.
This is so interesting watching this. And cobwebs and candlesticks. Cobwebs and candlesticks says damn.
Comes together pretty quick, doesn't it? I don't know how long I've been live, but this doesn't take very long.
We've been live for 76 minutes.
If you have a plan. I had a plan.
Could the back piece be made with EVA foam, or would EVA foam be too heavy?
EVA foam would be lighter than latex by quite a bit. And it could be made out of EVA foam, yes. I want the sculpted look of latex. I can just get better details in it. But yeah, I absolutely could. And I considered it. One of my early design sketches for this, I had it done out of EVA.
Thank you. I got worried it would be similar to the whale from Free Willy.
Oh, no. It's not going to look like, it's not going to be like black and white. It'll be like a black and white movie where there's no color in it, but it's all shades of gray. Don't think killer whale black and white. Think black and white movie like Dracula, Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Thanks for all the videos. I've picked up so many tips and cool tricks. You rule.
Thank you.
Chad, wish I'd gotten interested in this 20 years ago. Always wanted to learn. I love this stuff. I must start collecting masks. Started collecting masks this past year. I just started.
Very cool.
I think I messed up the plan. Sorry, says Psycho Axeman. I don't know what you did.
He went from $2 to $5.
Cobwebs and candlesticks. You could mold it with squishy foam.
I could pour it up with that.
What brand of latex is best for making a mask, and where do you get it? Also, how thick should I make the mask?
It's just mask making latex. It's casting latex. There's not really a brand per se. Thickness, I like a thicker mask because I put my mask, I work with mine. So they have stuff they need to do. And I expect them to hold up. But I get my latex from Biddy Mold Supply or Fright Props. Fright Props is pretty wonderful. And is there another question there?
It says, how thick should I make it?
What happens is you leave it in the mold for a certain amount of time. And however long you leave it in the mold for, the longer it's in there, the thicker the mask will get.
Evie says, no, I was talking about the fin, not the black and white aspect.
Oh. It's going to look a lot like the fin of a alligator gar, because I like to fish for alligator gar.
Did you have an armature on it? Sorry.
Nope. Beginning of the video, there was nothing on this table.
Will this be like 50 Shades?
Kind of.
What is the lifespan of a well-cared latex mask?
50 years.
Really?
Yep. There are still Don Post masks from the 60s that are out there. Now, newer latex is not as good as old latex. That sounds like I used to walk uphill both ways kind of deal. Just not as good as it used to be. But the truth in that is that they add a lot of fillers now to it that they did not add before, and those fillers actually make it break down a little faster.
Thanks for answering my questions. It's a 6-string Layla guitar name.
Happy to, of course.
Oh,
What?
Right Props is bringing back the zombie sale.
Are they? Who told you that?
The cobwebs and candlesticks. I'm so excited. I love
We
that
have a
snail.
zombie snail.
We do. I wouldn't take for my snail. I love my snail. Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Just made my wife's day.
Can I use airbrush inks on a latex mask without it cracking?
Not alone. If you have the mask paint under it, then yes. But not by themselves.
I had issues with wet clay. I don't know if it's the type of water-based clay I'm using, but I wet my clay and wrap it up, but it always gets way too hard to work with. What did I do? Or what do I do?
Well, how long did you leave it wrapped up? Because I unwrap every day and re-wet. In the summer, especially every day.
Chad, will you guys have clay and latex to purchase after we are done with Monster Camp on site, or will we have to order latex online with later online with companies, etc.?
Well,
Chad, are you?
here's a special treat.
If he's going, I don't think Chad can go.
Chad, on Monday,
I don't think he can go.
after Monster Camp, on Monday, we go and tour Dark Hour Haunted House. We do a backstage tour of that. And we go by Biddy Mold Supply, where you can buy clay and plaster.
I think Chad has to leave Sunday night. Chad, do I have that right? If that's the case, then, gosh, I think that's the case.
If that's the case, then it's bad.
Have you ever thought about making an alligator gar mask?
I have not. Their head is so different from a person's head. But we're doing an underwater theme at Dark Hour, so I may end up doing some weird stuff like that. I'm not normally a texture stamp guy, but boy, do I wish I had some texture stamps about now.
Can you just amoral the mask? That's Psychoax.
Can you do what?
Amoral, A-M-O-R-A-L. Can you just amoral the mask? Sorry, I'm not
I
sure.
don't know what you mean.
Cobwebs and candlesticks. Mine is falling apart. I need to restore it somehow. This mask. Jonathan Coleman, about the... Oh, gosh, guys. Hang on. Okay.
Good job,
with the
guys.
red-
Make her work.
Issues with the wet clay. What am I doing? That question?
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yep.
Okay, the question, you asked question, the answer was overnight.
Yeah, it shouldn't dry out like that overnight. Where do you live? Do you live like in Arizona or something where it's super dry?
Oh, Armor All. Can you just Armor All the mask?
Yes, you
Thank
can.
Michael.
That's a perfectly fine sealer, Armor All.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Michael.
I used to use Armor All almost exclusively as a sealer.
Psycho X-Men says, "Oh snaps, Biddy." Yeah, Chad has to leave Sunday night.
Oh, sorry, bud.
Um,
Now, where do you live again?
yeah, where are you?
Aren't you like 6 hours away? Arkansas, maybe?
7.6-hour drive. What you got? Let's talk about that.
Is it a 7.6 hour drive?
I leave it unwrapped overnight, and it's not leather, like maybe I'm not wetting it enough.
Oh, don't leave it unwrapped. Yes, if you leave it unwrapped, it will get too hard. Don't do that. Solve that problem.
Cobwebs and Candlesticks just ordered 6 pounds of foam from Biddy. 6 Strings Layla Guitar Man. I see some people make single mask molds and pull the mask out of it. Others make 2-part molds. Any advantage to a single mold besides no mold lines?
Well, it depends on how you've made it. I do a lot of half masks, in which a half mask you can mold that way. But if it's a full head mask, you have to do a 2-piece mold. The advantage is it's only 1 piece, so you can't really screw it up.
Another $2 from Psycho Hacks, man. Oh my goodness, you're funny.
So this is a little piece of netting that I have here. And this was decoration. It's like a lime green. It comes on a roll, wreaths and stuff. But I loved it. And here's what I do with it. I take, I'm pressing it onto some parts of this. Just getting a piece of clay to show you guys. And I press it. And when you peel it off, you get the impression of all those little scales on there. So all these big chunks I just put on, this is the texture that they're getting.
Good night, Ezekiel.
Good night, Ezekiel.
Okay, Chad. I'm 6 hours from the Bass Pro Pyramid in Memphis.
Well, how far are you from us?
6 hours. I'm 6 hours. I can see the Bass Pro Pyramid in Memphis.
Oh, okay.
Right now. So he's in Tennessee.
All right. So, yeah, that's not bad. Well, you know what? One day, drive out again. I will give you a tour of Dark Hour. We can head over to Biddy, and I can just show you whatever I need, whatever you need.
Take the butcher shop for lunch.
And we'll go to Butcher Shop for lunch. You drive 6 hours, I'll buy your lunch.
Large mass production companies make production molds that are 1 piece.
Yes, but they make a 2-piece mold first. Then they make the mask, then they make corrections, then they do a foam master, and then they make a 1-piece mold.
Question, including a place to stay, how much on average does it cost to take your monster mask class?
Well, you would probably need a hotel if you fly in Friday morning. Get there pretty early and then come in. The class itself is $550. And then you're going to have hotel room, probably $100, $120 a night is my guess, depending upon where you stay.
If you stay at the host hotel, we provide shuttle
Back and forth.
to and from. Some people drive in and they have their own car and they don't require shuttle. That is fine too.
Some rent a car.
You don't have to stay at the host hotel. It's totally up to you.
When Warren was here, he rented a Mustang.
Yeah, Warren rented a Mustang and stayed at a different hotel because he went rogue and wanted to do it his own way, which is great. Do it however you want to. But $550 provides you with the 3-day instruction. All your meals are included. You get sculpting tools, all your materials that you need. You get to keep is your armature that you get to keep?
Yep, you get to keep your sculpting armature.
Your sculpting armature.
Your mold and your mask.
Your mold, your mask. You get an apron, a steel-piece apron.
Yeah.
And all this fun stuff. So when you're looking at a 3-day, when you have to include your airfare and what have you, that kind of gives you an idea. But from our end, you're going to be $550. Hope I missed it, guys. Chad says we'll definitely take you up on that. Buy lunch, and I'll buy lunch. Yeah, Chad, if you can make it back out again, make a day trip at some point. Let him know. Do you prefer polyurethane rubber or tin cured silicone rubber for making a mold of a latex prop? I've read platinum silicone is a no-no even when seen.
It's a big no-no. It just doesn't work. Not that we don't like it, it's that it doesn't work. Well,
Sorry, Waxman. The wife was doing a great promo. Thank you, sir.
that's what she do.
That's what I'm just trying to get the info out. And an apron. That's right.
This is done.
Really?
Take a look at it.
It does look good.
I'm going to refine the fin, and I can spend some time refining that fin, and that's what I'm going to do now. Have an idea of what I want to do with that. But, you know, if I was in, you know, I almost said if I was in a rush. Well, I need this whole costume done in a week. But other than that.
Cobwebs against us. And an apron. Let's see. That back piece is awesome. I'm going to try this out sometime this week. He says, thank you. Guess I'll have to wait and win the lottery. Daniel says, I like it. And Chad says, the piece is looking good.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's win the lottery type of money. It all depends on what you want to do. I don't feel that I charge too much. Every student I've had so far has said it was an incredible value. So it's, you know, this is, you got to pay for clay. You got to pay for plaster. The whole time you're here, we feed you, so there's no food cost to it, which is really nice. And my wife can throw down in the kitchen, I might add. Trying something.
Thanks, Michael Lassiter. He's sending some information on to help Chad find a place to get to his stuff.
Okay.
I'm on a fixed income and going to Transworld was a surprise gift for my hubby. Oh, excellent. Good job, Edie. Come by booth 4.
Yeah, come see us.
Ed at Monster Tutorials said the food was amazing. Oh, he's so sweet.
Yeah.
He was great. He was a lot of fun. A very, very cool student. He was Monster Camp too.
Yes.
Yeah. You will not be hungry here.
No, it's not how we do things.
When painting masks, is it better to paint with a brush or airbrush or a combination?
Whatever you like. It's not better. It's style. Airbrush has a look to it. I prefer dry brushed pretty much to anything else, but I do also like to airbrush. So you'll see both on my work. Normally I do dry brushing to set the tone for the piece, and then I will use the airbrush to blend and do some shadows, do some shading.
Also, the pottery places should carry mold plasters as well. Thank you, Michael.
Yes, look for a ceramic supply shop near you, because clay is very heavy, so shipping it gets expensive. You know, I've never looked for clay on Amazon, because boy, would that make sense if you had Prime.
Edie says, you're bringing me a witch's mask, remember?
Well, what I did was we poured up a few witches' masks, and they are in the blanks bin. You asked for some blanks. I remember.
How much does that clay cost? Time and money?
So this clay is, I think, maybe 30 cents a pound. So a 50-pound box of clay. It's not bad. It's not that expensive.
It said put the camera up. Look at the camera. It said put the camera up. Where am I?
That's good.
Is that better?
I mean, right now I'm working on the other side than the camera, unfortunately. You know what? I'll switch and I'll go over there.
Yes, Edie says blanks. Are you going to cast this tonight?
No, I don't have enough plaster. I don't have enough plaster to mold it tonight. I wish I did.
Chad says, I'm a perfectionist. I see future problems mask making, gory mask, but at the same time, will put lots of time in my new hobby with pride.
Well, I'm not a perfectionist. I don't suffer from that particular affliction. So,
Amazon does have clay, but in small blocks, and you have to pay for shipping because it weighs so much.
yeah.
I'm gonna run to the ladies' room. Keep on talking. I'll be right back.
We'll talk about the wife as soon as she's gone.
You can talk about it. Say what you want to say.
You can see now, I'm just putting that little tubage on there. And that's going to look like a spine on that fin. And I'll do all the way down.
I'm gonna take this kitty with me.
There we go.
Come on, buddy. Come on, Ducks. Come on. Come here, buddy.
Is he bothering you?
No, he's hungry. Oh my goodness, big kitty. Come on, big boy. I'll be right back.
Okay.
These dogs. Oh my goodness.
And I'll blend that in down there a little bit better later. But that's what I'm doing right now. This is layer after layer after layer. I could have called it done before, but a little more work on the spine won't hurt. This is a feature I can carry into other parts. And I did one on the other side, and all of these are meeting up. When they meet up, I make that nice little spine right there. Yeah. So yeah, this is what I'm doing. Making monsters. It does, yeah, to death, exactly. It's layers and layers and layers of detail. I might have a little one that I have room for down here. She'll be right back, Boris. You don't have to leave. Here they're not herding dogs, but they're guard dogs. So they do have a bit of a herding instinct. So they like for us to be in the same room. And if we're not, they try and push Shannon to whatever room I am in, which is lovely. Wendy used to do that too. Our Great Pyrenees we had before the puppies. We lost her a year ago, I think yesterday. The puppy sure brought me a lot of joy. It is depth, Psycho Axeman. Layers and layers of detail. See how nice that loop tool pulls that out of there? It's a nice half round piece. Lovely little spine. I think, yeah, I didn't get, that's the last one I got on that side. I'll switch over here so you guys could see. But yeah, it's going all right. Lots of classic monsters that I'm doing for Transworld. I love it. Gotten to make Frankensteins, Wolfmen, Dracula. really the biggies. Yeah, what a nice fin. Isn't that lovely? You know what I might do is I might cast up a couple of these and put them along the back of the sea serpent I'm making. That way, I can just run and he'll look like he has some nice wavy fin all the way down. I would take a bunch of these though. So maybe I won't do that. This is under the lather, rinse, repeat portion of the evening.
All right. I gotta go. Have you read the comments on this book? What'd you read?
No, I don't think there has been many comments since you left.
Okay.
You were very fast.
I was fast. I was fast.
And Boris also got up to pee.
Oh, good boy. Okay. All right. Amarillo, okay. Clay factory in Austin has all types of clays. If you pick up there, the prices are pretty reasonable. Question. Are you teaching your nieces and nephews how to make stuff?
Well, a little bit.
How about not to eat stuff?
You mean
Nieces and nephews, though.
as in puppies?
I don't know, those are not nieces. Let's see.
I have godchildren I'm teaching how to make stuff.
That's true. Psycho Axeman says it's death.
My nieces are both closer to 30 than they are, well, I guess every age learns how to make stuff. But I don't think they're into this.
Greyhouse haunts. I like the spines. It gives more depth.
Yeah.
Cobwebs and candlesticks. When they get bigger, you're going to need a Dutch door and leave the bottom open.
You ain't lying. These are some big old doggos. They should all be about 100 pounds. This is going to be their adult weight. Maybe more, they said.
Yeah, they're only 4 months old right now. I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 months. Psycho Hexman says, yes, no woman when we work. Doggy's bad. Did you finish the gravedigger mask?
I have airbrushed the details on it, but I did not do the hat and stuff yet. The hat is coming. Hey, honey.
Yeah.
Is there one inbred Santa on the list, or is there two?
I don't have a quantity.
You do. It's on the shelf list.
Oh. You do?
Where the holiday list is the holiday shelf, it says what all's on it. I think it's only one.
We don't have a quantity for that. We just have a price.
Look at the page with all the shelves drawn on it. Look at the holiday shelf. Is he listed once or twice?
What are you looking at?
Look with all the shelves drawn on it. Holiday shelf. Is he listed once or twice?
Once.
Just once. Inbred Santa.
That's how I know.
So it's just one. Yeah. That is literally every single mask that's going to be at the show. Like, it's drawn on the shelf, and then it's labeled as to what it is. That's how I know how many of what to make.
What character is this for?
This is for a creature from the Black Lagoon type creature.
Out of the classics, Gilman has always been my favorite.
He's a nice suit. He is, one of the first, men in rubber suit kind of deals, and that he's got a special place in my heart also.
I'm hoping to get something from Ed Edmonds, and yes, that fin looks amazing.
getting there. It's not bad for the time we've spent on it.
I remember when you started your shop back in the day, all of the old stuff. That's Psycho Axeman.
I do love me some classics.
Hope you video it when you cast it.
That's possible.
Psycho Axeman says, wife, shh, he's sculpting. Sorry. About how many pounds at you have laying there? 10 pounds? How many pounds do you have?
This is probably 30, 35 pounds of clay. Clay's very heavy. I'm just putting these little wormies on the bottom now to make it look like they're growing out of something. Give them a little root, a little base.
It looks good. It says, damn, I was off. That was cobwebs and candlesticks. But you can reuse it.
Clay is heavy.
But you can reuse it.
You could, yes. This is actually, all this clay is being used for the second time.
You are at 10 o'clock.
Come back, so I'm going to sculpt you a second time.
Alan?
Yep.
Do you need to turn anything on?
I can't. My phone's being used.
Oh, okay. But you can reuse it. Okay.
I think that the creature would have like some kind of venom in these spines too. You'd be an extra jerkfish. Remember, I only did part of the other side, so I've got to go back to the other side and do it. Maybe I'll bring the camera over there with me. But I think I'll be done sculpting this in like 20 minutes.
Hi. Hello.
What you guys think? All this is to blend in.
So it looks like a lionfish.
Yeah, I can see that.
What color will it be?
He'll be black and white because I'm doing black and white classics. I will probably do a color version down the road, but I am most excited about them being in black and white.
Love the art of clay sculpting because the imagination can be endless.
Absolutely.
Chad, be thinking about what your designs are going to be for
Yes.
Monster Camp. Come up with 2. Get your visuals. Larry Hughes, looking good. Such a quick transformation.
Yeah, I don't mess around. I got a show to attend. I got monsters to make.
Gotta plug the phone in and hit the hay. Good night and peace to all. Cobwebs and candlesticks.
Good night. Thanks for hanging out.
Chad's already picked 2 out. Great. It's gonna be fun. Video the casting when you get your Ultra Cal, please.
Well, I'm actually not going to use UltraCal for this. I'm going to use a experimental plaster from Home Depot. Not even a plaster. I'm going to mix some stuff from Home Depot and hope it works out.
I got lucky. This is Edie. I have a place to stay in St. Louis for free. I cannot wait to meet you and Shannon. Great.
That's awesome.
Booth 4, come see us. Psycho Axeman says interesting.
Don't do anything you shouldn't, Edie. I don't know how you're getting free lodgings, but... My wife just chastised me.
Hush. Terrible.
All right, so I'm actually pretty happy with how this is looking. Now I still have a couple. I have hands to make for him. Like I have to mold those.
The Grandma's fitting spit pumpkin head with pulp running from his mouth. That's Chad. He's coming to Monster Camp. His Monster Camp ideas.
Cool.
That is cool. I like the pumpkin.
Yeah, I would go pumpkin.
Yeah, go pumpkin. You couldn't keep away. St. Louis stays in Vegas, says he. It's gonna be fun. Come to see us. Come meet us. Speed spitting, split pumpkin head with pulp running from his mouth. That is a cool idea.
Monster Camp #1, we had a pumpkin head sculpt. Remember that?
Yep, that was
Scarlet.
Scarlet from Deceased Farms. But it wasn't spitting pumpkin seeds.
No. Well, and it was like half zombie too.
No, that's great. That's great. It's gonna be fun. Get your ideas together. That's gonna be so cool.
Once you commit to something like these spines, you kind of have to do them all.
Psycho X-Man. A lot of people miss the hour of sculpting. That's true. But this one, are you gonna mold it tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll mold this tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll do a morning
There'll be a lot of people here.
or Sunday.
Tomorrow is Sunday.
Yeah, I'll mold this tomorrow. Oh, I love monsters. Can't wait to see this guy walking around, you know? Probably a bad angle for you.
I might need to get some live video from Transworld so people can see the finished product.
Well, if only I had someone who I could
I'll do it.
give my phone and have him walk around, take some video. If only there was someone like that. Who could I ask? I don't know. Alexa, countdown. 15 minutes.
15 minutes, starting now.
What?
Oh, Jonesy, this kitty. Oh my gosh.
I'm just pinching it to add some sharpness to the end of these.
Now Psycho X-Man sent you $10.
Psycho Axeman. You must really love monsters as much as I did.
You disappear for months and now we get you back.
Yeah, been a while, man. Were you wondering where your mask was? Now I think we'll remember. It's hard, man. It's hard to keep up with YouTube names and...
He said, yes, I was.
Tell you what, here's the advantage. I'm the easiest guy to find on the internet. It's not like I'm going to take money and run and hide and not deliver because just, you know, I'm too out there. Now, I'm not the easiest guy to get a hold of. Well, that's getting better. If you message Still Be Studios, my wife takes care of that right away.
And then I hammer you until you answer.
Yeah. I need a few more, and then I got to put those little things on this side, and I'll be in good shape. a nice back piece. And since Dark Hour's going underwater for October, you can use it for then too.
I want to thank you for letting me know about the class and accepting me. That's Chad.
No
Chad,
problem.
We're gonna see you soon.
Yeah. Come on out and make some monsters.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, what's funny is that, everybody in class, you're going to be in a room with them for days. It's like 3 days. It's 3 basically 12-hour days.
Being a water-based creature, you should use hydrocal.
Well, I'm going to use the stone that I have, which would be something that I have to make up because plaster, I know have it. Okay, and then we'll go through and put these little guys on the bottoms. And this will be my sculpture. I mean, I'm real close to having this guy done.
Oh, you have a great wife. Did you hear that?
I do.
I think I need a wife too.
I do.
Wonder how Carl would feel about that. Of course, she would have to old, really ugly, and a great housekeeper and a cook. Well, Carl is not. We don't give him a word. We don't give him a say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl's not allowed in the house.
Not allowed in the house.
You guys still see what's going on? Kinda. Yeah, y'all don't come here because I'm pretty. You're here for the sculpting. Me being pretty is just a bonus. I got clay down in my shirt sleeve. It was very cold.
Michael says good night, everyone.
Good night, Michael. Won't see Michael either. That's a shame.
No.
See how those give those a little more of a root and they make them feel like they're really just coming out? I like that better. I may or may not go through and blend those in down to the bottom. See how we're doing on time. I want to wrap up tonight about 11, if not sooner. Probably 10:30 right now.
10:17.
Boy, your comments are going crazy, aren't they, honey?
Yeah, good comments.
I can
tonight.
see them.
Good comments.
I was kidding. I caught wife watching cooking videos instead of the comments. So I thought I would talk about how crazy the comments were going.
Oh, I see these kittens are
Oh, it's a kitten. I thought it was a taco a second ago.
It's a kitten. They want to make sure this rescue kittens. I'm making sure they're okay. This is gonna be your future when I
These
retire.
people could be asking important questions.
When I retire, this is happening.
Very good. get somebody to answer
There's
questions.
gonna be some kittens.
Wife's watching kitten videos, not doing her job.
And I got a kitty here. Yeah, Jonesy. Good boy.
My wife is holding a cat, watching a video of someone else petting a cat.
Quit. You thought I got plenty new ants. Quit.
Y'all make some comments, and my wife has to work.
I'm looking. I'm gonna chase you out in the middle of the street.
Well, I'll run.
I'll catch you.
That'll
You're not that fast.
teach you.
How long have you been doing classes? Monster Camp? That's Chad. Must be Monster.
Honey, tell me. Tell
We
him.
started in June of 2018, so not that long.
Yeah.
Less than 2 years.
Now, I had done a mask making class at 2 different trade shows. And it's a lot, it's just so much work. And it's just easier to do it here in my own shop. There's a chance one day that I'll buy a bus and rig it up and take it on the road. But that's a long ways away. And my wife doesn't like that idea at all. In case you guys were wondering.
Well, we're gonna have to bring 4 cats and 3 dogs.
Yes.
Yeah. We go. We take all the pets with us, and the chickens and the bees. I really wanted to meet Ed and Miss Marcia, you two, Kathy LeBeau and Linda Marshall. But the last 2 aren't going to Transworld this year.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
John, Psycho Axeman says it's relaxing. John 9111. Who's in here tonight? Oh, well, we're here.
I think they will say, hey, John. A lot of folks are in here. That's what we do. Yeah, I'll go live tomorrow. I'll mold this with Mystery Stone. Magical Mystery Stone of Desperation. And then I got to make sure I have good plaster to mold the hands, which I'll probably sculpt tomorrow, but I won't mold them until Monday. Alexa, how much time is left on my countdown?
You don't have any notifications.
Alexa, how much time is left on the timer?
You have 5 minutes left on your 15-minute timer.
5 minutes? I could probably get all these blended in by then.
You can do it.
Here's the last little piece I need. And really, I'm happy with this guy. I think this is a good looking back piece. It's going to blend in well with the chest piece that I've already done.
Can the same technique somewhat be used for silicone?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you can make molds for silicone mask with plaster. That's no problem.
Is it going to be plaster of Paris?
No, I call that plaster of peril. I don't use plaster of peril for any molds or anything. I don't use it. It just sometimes just doesn't set up on you, and that's unacceptable.
I'm 63 years old. Don't wait too long to drive down near Corpus with that mask making bus, offering treats for the pups and cats.
Understood.
Yes, ma'am. The texture reads very well, so important for the overall look.
Thank you. That's why I wanted to give you guys a bit of a zoomy zoom. Make sure you let Shannon know when the camera goes out of, because I've got it a little tight now. When it stops working for you, let me know.
I'm calling it a night. Thanks for the response. You guys have a good night. That's Chad. Good night, Chad.
Okay, this should last a little while. See how now I'm just marrying that bottom of that into that. blending them together. So it looks like it wells up a little bit and then holds that spine.
Did you like the werewolf show that came on in 1987? That was kind of like the Incredible Hulk, where the pentagram bled before the transformation.
Yes, it was called Werewolf. That was the name of the show. And Rick Baker did the werewolf for it. I love it. I'm actually on a Facebook group that is fans of Werewolf, the series. I'm on a Facebook group for that show. I loved it. There was a old werewolf on it, and his name was Skorzeny. And Michael, I think, was the name of the protagonist. And he kind of traveled the world trying to catch up with the werewolf who turned him. Because if you kill the werewolf who turned him, then he would not be, he could, save himself from the werewolf curse. So, maybe I'm a little familiar.
I've got a 10 spot. Psycho X-Men. I've got a 10 spot if you play Gwar.
Well, you see, I can't simply because my phone is being used for the video. So.
You might mean if you like Gwar.
Oh. Now, I'm familiar with Odorous Urungus and those Gwar dudes. My buddy Jake is a much bigger Gwar fan than I. I think their costumes are cool. I thought that when they had their bass player Sylmenstra Hyman, I thought that her name was a little extreme. But I don't think she's with them anymore. I love their costumes and their general craziness. But again, I'm more of a Bon Jovi guy.
How much trimming will you have to do after pulling the back?
I probably not. It's a one piece. I'll have to go all the way around this edge with it, but that should really be it. And as I do my last one, my timer has gone off. Alexa, stop. Put your tools away. So let's go ahead and give you a close-up of this back piece. So you guys can see what we sculpted tonight. Tighten that up a little bit. Doot, 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 doot. Okay. Yeah, that's turning out pretty good.
It's such a great band. Nothing wrong with it. Topless chick squirting blood.
I suppose you are correct.
Psycho X-Men.
Okay. So that's it.
10:30.
Said I was going to sculpt the back piece. I sculpted a back piece.
It's ready to go for tomorrow.
It's ready to go for molding. Thank you guys very much. I'm going to spray it down with some pledge. And then I'll probably get out of here. I'll cover it up for the night. Probably do 2 coats before I leave this evening of pledge. And a 3rd coat before I mold tomorrow. Okay. So gang, thanks for hanging out with me. And watching me make stuff.
Wait,
Probably.
wait. What's
Yes.
the best type of scissors to use when trimming latex?
Oh, sharp scissors. One of my favorites are these little guys. But I also use electrician scissors quite a bit. Those are good.
Can you zoom in real quick?
I can zoom again. I'll zoom in.
Oh, so no, I'm sorry. It looked way better when zoomed in.
Oh, okay.
Psycho X-Men.
Yes.
And I just noticed this, so I'm way late to the show. But is this a back piece for the creature of the Black Lagoon costume?
It's very similar. Yes. It's not exact. It's the creature from the Black and White Lagoon.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so as I say every night, before I say what I always say at the end of our video, let's go over here. We have a dreaming puppy. Here are the puppers. They're pretty much sound asleep.
Still.
Yeah, they're out like lights. But you guys are awesome. Have a great night. And as I say, go make stuff.